Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Steve, your host. In today's video, we're going to start a multi-part series on building the old DML M4A1. And in its time, this was the holy grail for me as a Sherman guy, to get a cast-hold Sherman. It's going to be a multi-part series. Not sure how many parts it's going to be, but it should be a lot of fun building these old kits and just trying to bring them alive. So sit back, enjoy the series. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Always great to see you, and you guys have a great day. Thank you. Okay, in this series we're building the DML M4A1. It was one of the original M4A1s to come out. Came out in 1996, and we hadn't seen an M4A1 since the Najimo M4A1. I've never looked at that kit. I've only looked at the Tasca one, which I just finished, and I just started building this one. I'm kind of on a Sherman roll right now. Just want to go over some of the things I've found so far, some of my likes and dislikes. But just overall, it's a kit from 1996 for me at the time. I'm a big Sherman guy. This was the holy grail of M4A1s. This was the only kit out there that was readily available. It only seemed to be on the market for about a year and a half. And after that, it was very hard to find. But I've got the lower hull done, and the upper hull is attached. There's a couple things, you know, it has some nice details. It has the cast texture. It's got the foundry markings on the upper hull. The M4A1 was a single piece cast, and it had the radial engine of the M4 in it. We'll just start around. It's a bathtub hull. This kit has sat in my stash for a long time, so there was a little bit of warpage. Had to do a bit of fiddling, nothing major, but it was one of those things. So you have these inserts that go for the VVS. I guess this hull was going to be used for some other things later on. It's got the typical M4, you know, radial engine M4A1 type setup. I've got the exhaust here. I've got the air cleaners, and I'll put that piece back on. I'm really careful with these guys. I try to clean them as best as I can, but they're very easy to break. The idler mounts were a bit fiddly, but nothing really, you know, nothing too bad. I needed to get them right. I had to fill in some divots in the brackets, the guides. And these are the towing shackle mounts. I'll drill those out. They're solid. The tools on the back are okay. Like I said, Dragon's tools are usually a bit thin, so I just needed to be careful how I handled those and clean them up. It's hard to get them on here. I eyeballed them. I used several references, but really no problem there. Going on to the back, the lights, the rear lights were a two-piece affair, but they had positive mounting, which I appreciated. The light guard holders, pretty simple in the kit. I've got the grousers here. They are one piece, and I've got some photo etch that's going to go on to them. The lifting eyes, the lifting eye mounts for this, you know, on the Tamiya and previous ones, you get a really solid connection, and I just don't think that was available with the lifting eyes. And again, the tools, so just be careful. If you're going to use these, you know, if you put stowage on the back, just be careful if you're going to use these for strap mounting points, because that'll be a problem. You don't get any fire extinguisher handles. You have the housing there. This is a separate piece. It's pretty standard for an M4A1 with the radial in it. These are two pieces. Fit was okay. You get the armored fuel caps. You get the tools. What I did like was the hatches. The hatches were a one-piece affair so far, so I didn't have to worry about adding the spring, adding any of the other bits and pieces to it. So, and there are plastic handles for this, which I appreciate. because they weren't available on in the Tasca kit. This is really pre-slide molding, so the MG, the holes aren't drilled out. I've got, again, the lifting eyes. These had a little bit more, they had a better positive, mounting point. And the fenders, yeah, really, 1996, this was a pretty good kit, So we'll move on. We'll move on to the, my wife calls these the motorcycles. This was pretty standard. It went together the same way the Italeri ones go together. They're workable. Unlike Tasca, there wasn't any padding there to give it cushion, give it spring, which I appreciate. One of the things I appreciate was you had bolts. These the skids were bolted inside and out, and I appreciate that being there. The bolts on the bottom of the suspension housing, they were there. So all in all, pretty good. One thing you want to be careful for is on the steel return roller, there's these divots, and they're only on one side. So these divots should be visible. They aren't molding problems. They're actually supposed to be here. I'm using the open spoke. I'm doing an early Sherman. I was a bit disappointed. The kit comes with solid spoke, but there's no backing on them, and the same with the idler. The idler, the solid spoke idler, has got no backing on it, so I went with open spoke. Getting into the turret. Turret is actually pretty nice. Again, I get a nice beefy 75 millimeter gun, which I think the Tamiya kids fall down on. I'm just about done with it. One of the things you just need to be careful about is, again, this turret was designed to do multiple kits. So it came with slots in the back that would mount the British radio box when these were in British service. So just something to watch out for. You have to fill those. I had to eyeball the lifting eyes. There really wasn't any place, so I just had a reference for that. The other thing I did was there was a mount for a later, manual gun sight or commander's quick shot gun sight or whatever it is. I've got the blade sight mount here. I may fabricate the actual blade sight, but I had to remove this mount with a hobby knife and just put a cast texture over it. The thing that a lot of Shermans come with, and what you really need to watch out for, is the pistol port hatch usually comes as a separate piece, but the actual mold is molded into the turret. So a lot of modelers don't realize this, and they leave a line there where it looks like a separate piece, where in reality it's not. I'm going to put up a couple pictures from the Sherman Minutia website. I'll leave a link in the description. That is one heck of a website if you're a Sherman guy. It's got a lot of great photos, and I think you'll find it very useful. So, and again, this is, it is not the earliest of mantlets, but it is one of the earlier ones. The earliest ones didn't have these guards on either side. I've got the machine gun I'm going to put in there. Unfortunately, with this kit, the machine gun isn't connected to the gun. So, however you place this, just make sure that whatever position your gun's in, the machine gun is matched to it, because they work coaxial. Overall, I think it's a nice kit. It requires a bit more work. We came back 1995, we had Tamiya's M4, and we hadn't seen a Sherman from Tamiya since their M4A3. I think the initial one was 1981. So that was a nice boost. It had some problems. It didn't come with periscopes. Came with some figures, came with some stowage. The gun was a bit anemic. DML came out in the 90s and they covered all the Sherman series, so we were really, really blessed to have that if you're a Sherman guy. Wasn't always perfect. It was workable. Came with a lot of nice details. Some of it was fiddly, some of it wasn't. But if you're a Sherman guy in the 90s, DML was really the only game in town for the selection that was out there. All right. I will continue on with the build. I've got some more things I need to do. One thing I need to do is I need to come up with a solution for this gap. I'm looking at Sherman minutia, and I think there was a backside to this, so I will go back in there, but that gap has got to go. All right, you guys take care. The dogs are pretty excited about me getting this done, so you guys have a great week. All right then, thank you.